This is Arts and Scholarship. This next research paper that I'm about to read was written by yours truly for the course, The Historical Avant-Garde, taught by Dr. Aaron Thomas here at Florida State University in the spring of 2025 in the School of Theater. The title of the paper is, For Whom is the Avant-Garde a New Idea? Thoughts on Restaging the Manifesto. The Manifesto, a genre typically associated with radical political declarations, has long functioned as a site of rupture and provocation in the arts. Beginning with the futurist, exuberant proclamations in the early 20th century and continuing through the subversive outbursts of Dada and Surrealism, manifestos have served as vehicles for avant-garde movements to publicly announce their rejection of prevailing social, cultural, and artistic norms. These documents, often written with the urgency of a call to arms, do more than advocate for change. They demand it through performance. A manifesto is not simply a text. It is an event, a gesture, or an embodied action in which the boundaries of language, form, and politics blur. While much has been written about the radical content of these manifestos, less attention has been paid to their performative dimension, the embodied, affective, and material events that unfold when manifestos are spoken, enacted, or visually staged. This paper examines the manifesto as a performative script that is enacted in public space, its rhetoric transforming into spectacle, and its content transmuting into action. Whether delivered on stage, in a manifesto performance event, or as part of a protest, the manifesto emerges as a key site where art and activism intersect. In doing so, it creates what Shannon Jackson calls a, quote, social work, unquote, influencing the publics through affective resonance and materiality. This paper will begin by analyzing the historical avant-garde movements, Futurism, Dada, and Surrealism, examining how their manifestos operated as political documents and performative acts. These movements, often aligned with radical political ideologies, utilize the manifesto not just as a declaration, but as a performative script for reshaping the cultural landscape. Marinetti's Futurist manifestos, Zara's Dadaist provocations, and Breton's Surrealist declarations all share a commitment to using performance to disrupt the status quo, engage with affect, and inspire collective action. The manifesto was both the manifestation of and the vehicle for revolution, designed to disturb the dominant cultural sensibilities of their time. However, as the world has changed, so has the manifesto's role. Today we see the manifesto being interpreted by queer, feminist, and indigenous artists, among others, who reclaim the form to subvert its history of exclusion and to create new spaces for resistance. The contemporary manifesto operates as a form of political critique and a tool for decolonization, pleasure, and effective resistance. By drawing on the work of theorists such as Jose Esteban Muñez, Sarah Ahmed, and Rustam Barucha, this paper explores how contemporary artists reframe the manifesto, making it a decolonial practice that expands beyond the ideological and cultural confines of its historical predecessors. In her article, For Whom is the Apocalypse a New Idea?, Patricia Ybarra explores the concept of the apocalypse as both a literal and metaphorical rupture in history and cultural practice. She critiques the Eurocentric modernist vision of apocalyptic change that is often associated with avant-garde movements, arguing that this vision is predicated on the assumption of a shared future and a universal subjectivity. Ybarra writes, quote, The apocalypse is often framed as a singular event that will affect all people at once. Yet, this overlooks the disparate apocalyptic experiences of colonized and marginalized communities, unquote. This critique offers a fresh perspective on avant-garde manifestos as a call for a cultural reset. Yet we must acknowledge that for colonized peoples, the apocalypse is an ongoing reality, urging a deeper, empathetic understanding of diverse cultural experiences. In the case of Futurism, Dada, and Surrealism, the call for radical transformation and cultural renewal was a product of European modernity, which envisioned the avant-garde's rupture as a break from the past, a break from bourgeoisie tradition, Victorian values, and academic art forms. However, this rupture was always framed within the context of a Western experience and did not extend to the lived experience of indigenous communities, Black populations, or colonized subjects who had already endured their own apocalyptic transformations through slavery, displacement, and cultural annihilation. As Ybarra argues, the apocalyptic vision of Western avant-garde movement was historically and geographically specific and failed to engage with the non-Western realities of rupture that colonized peoples had already faced long before the birth of European modernism. This paper argues that avant-garde manifestos are not merely ideological texts, but performative scripts that stage aesthetic and political rupture through affective and embodied means. Drawing on Patricia Ybarra's concept of the apocalypse as a lived experience for marginalized communities, this paper examines how the manifesto operates as a repeated mode of resistance and reimagination for communities already experiencing colonial rupture. By analyzing historical manifestos of Futurism, Dada, and Surrealism, alongside contemporary reinterpretations by queer, feminist, and Indigenous artists, this paper reveals how these manifestos have historically excluded marginalized voices, particularly those experiencing the apocalypse as historical violence rather than a future event. Through the lens of postcolonial performance theory, the paper argues that contemporary interventions reframe the manifesto not only as a performative act of decolonial resistance, but as an effective and archival practice that offers a site for the reclamation of marginalized histories and futures. These actions reveal the exclusions present in the original avant-garde manifestos, transforming the manifesto into an active and ongoing process of cultural resistance.